What is going on, Swoopers? Welcome back to another episode of Swoop Luke. In this episode, we'll be breaking down our huge, amazing draft haul from the other night. So let's run the intro, jump straight into it. Just before we do jump straight into it, of course, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Swoop, both at Swoop Luke. And also follow me on Twitch. On draft night, we had about a 2.5 hour stream of the draft. We had about 60 viewers. It was fun. We were interacting with each other. Amazing. So good.
I think they might have got a beauty here.
So he spent most of last year at either end, but his true potential may be as the tall midfielder.
So good. All right. Let's get Reef in the black and white, and then we'll be done. We'll be done for this 2.5 hour stream.
Always handy when you're a coach making.
Oh, so excited! I can't believe I interviewed him. How dope!
For sure, the quality that they've been able to select.
Oh, this is so good! This is so fucking good!
With pick 23, Collingwood have matched.
Yes!
Reece McGuinness, Surrey Park Junior Football Club.
Yes!
He knew that if it got to 23, Collingwood were going to take him.
Here we go.
There was probably a
There we go! So good! So good! I might do a bit more of these live sort of streams throughout the season, maybe watching a game together or something like that, and that'll all be on Twitch. Follow Swoop Luke on Twitch. But if you are a new swooper, welcome. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button so you get notifications whenever I release something. And if you're a returning swooper, thank you so much for the support. Could not have done it without each and every single one of you. So now let's break down this draft a little bit. Let's start with the big question. Did we succeed in, from a bad trade period, did the draft kind of rectify those mistakes? Yes, and look, no to a certain point. So let's break that down. We know what happened in the trade period. We dumped a lot of players. A lot of players got delisted. A lot of players got traded. And a lot of players retired. 13 players all up. So that's 1/3 of the list, pretty much, fell to the wayside. And by the wayside, that's just an easy way to say everyone got done whatever they wanted to do. So that happened. Then we had a huge draft hand. We needed a lot of players to come in through the draft because we weren't picking up any free agents or delisted free agents or anything like that. In the end, we took 6 active picks in the draft and then 2 rookie picks in the rookie draft today. So all up, we lost 13 players over the off-season, but we brought in 8 players. Some people on social media were saying that this is kind of like a mini rebuild, and you can kind of see that. We had a lot of talent leave the door, and now we've got a bunch of kids that we can kind of mould into the Collingwood way. Do I think this was a win for the club? I really do think it was a win for the club. We brought in some really good kids. We got who we wanted in Reef. We had 5 picks in the top 31 of the draft. And I can't remember a time when we picked up this many kids before. Six kids. It's insane. And I keep saying kids, and it's a little bit weird that I keep saying kids. 6 players. I'll say players from now on. 6 players in this draft, and we'll go through it and we'll break them down and who they are and stuff like that. But from a Collingwood standpoint, yes, it does feel like a mini rebuild. We've addressed a lot of needs in this draft. We got Reef, like I just said. We got a couple of tall forwards and stuff like that. A Treloar replacement as well. I think we've done really well. And by all accounts, AFR.com.au, Fox Sports, the Herald Sun, The Age, they're all giving us like A's, A+, and saying we did an excellent job at this draft. And I really think that we did. And according to all you guys on Instagram and all socials and stuff, you think we did as well. And that's what's important. We were at a point as a Collingwood supporter that we were pretty down in the dumps. If we were a Richmond supporter and this happened to Richmond, we'd be microwaving our memberships right now. But we're not that type of supporters, you know what I mean? But we were down in the dumps. We were giving it to the Collingwood Football Club because we couldn't see a plan. They said they had a plan at the end of trade period, but we couldn't see it. But now we can see how they executed the plan. So how did our plan come to fruition? How did we execute it? So it was a little bit crazy. On the draft night, we had 6 trades. So we were trading with Freo at one stage, Adelaide, GWS, just all these sort of trades to get us higher in the draft, knew who we wanted to pick, and Derek Hine came out and said that we had a pre and a post-Reef scenario. So pre-Reef scenario would be if Essendon at one of their 3 picks in the top 10 bid on Reef, or if Adelaide bid on Reef, or if anyone sort of bid on Reef before our first pick. As it turns out, like we know, nobody bid on him until pick, I think it was 23 that the Giants bid on him. But what that meant is that we could take our pick, well, it was 14 and 16, then it turned to be 17 and 19. We could take those 2 picks in the first round and pick 2 players that we needed. We didn't have to use them to get points for Reef. What that meant is that we could address 2 needs really quickly with players that we desperately needed. We brought in Oliver Henry, and then we brought in Finlay Macrae. And then, of course, the Giants bid on Reef, or nominated Reef, and we matched it, and Reef signed Reef. And then we had 2 more picks thanks to more trades. We brought in South Australian Kellen Poulter, another key forward in Liam McMahon, and then another kid from South Australia, Bo McCreary. So that was just on the night, like I said, we were watching it on Twitch and stuff. It was very crazy to see all these trades going down. But what I really loved about this sort of plan and how Derek Hine and yes, Ned Guy went about it was that not only were we trading for this draft, we were getting picks in the, I think, 3rd round and 4th round, maybe the 2nd round next year to bid on Nick Dacos. And that's the end goal. If you thought the Bulldogs getting Jamara in the first pick after Adelaide nominated him was a steal, Nick Dacos is going to be exactly like that next year. 2 years out from his draft, and they're already saying that he can go number 1, number 2, or number 3. They're really leaning on number 1. What that means is that all we have to do, like the Bulldogs, we just have to bid on him when someone nominates him, and we have to say, yep, we're matching that bid, or we're matching that pick, or whatever the AFL says, you know. What that means is that we could trade out our first rounder from next year because we don't need it. We don't need it. And that helped us land 6 players yesterday. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to break down just quickly some of the players, or most of the players that we brought in. So we know, first off, Oliver Henry, brother of Geelong's Jack Henry, a forward that we need. He's our first draft pick. We know he's going to wear pick number 35. He can play tall, he can play small, and he's the kind of guy where if he puts a little bit of muscle on, he can hit packs, he can mark the ball at its highest point, and he can kick a goal. That's exactly what we need as a key forward. But the way that he can play small, which means that he's good at ground level as well. The next pick that we had was pick 19. We brought in Finlay Macrae, who, of course, you've heard it and you'll keep hearing it, is the brother of Jackson Macrae. Rated really highly. A lot of fandom drafts had him going top 15. So to get him at pick 19 was pretty much a steal. He accumulates the ball and he plays inside and out. He finds plenty of space, kind of like a Treloar type. The next kid we brought in, of course, Reef McGuinness. I can't speak more highly of this kid. Absolutely love the way he goes about it. Like I said in that interview with him as well, he is an Adam Treloar type. I know I just said Finlay was as well, but McGuinness is 193 centimetres, modelled like Bontempelli, Nat Fyfe as well, Patrick Cripps, strong, can break a tackle, can hit targets, and what I love about him is that he can play off a half-back, he can play deep in the middle, or he can play as a forward. A bit of a utility, and I think we'll use him as a backman first, who will move into the middle. The other guy that we brought in was Caleb Poulter, a left footer that can just pinpoint, he's got a fine left foot. Let's just say that, you know. He averaged 25 disposals playing through the middle, a big impact player. He went at pick 30. A lot of drafts had him going way higher than that. I know a lot of teams were into him as well. So he snuck there and, you know, we're chomping at the bit that we had the opportunity to pick him up. Pick 31, right after Caleb, was Liam McMahon. McMahon is another developing key forward who has a huge leap and, you know, the ability to mark the ball at the highest point and kick a goal. He has great speed for his height as well, which is amazing, and exactly like Oliver Henry, exactly what you want from your key forward. Our last pick of the night was Beau McCreary. Look, honestly, I don't really know much about Beau, but I know he is a 19-year-old who is playing at the top flight in South Australia, and he is by all means a forward who is a bit of a goal sneak, and he can just go about it and plays with the big boys already. In the rookie draft, we brought in Jack Ginnivan, who is a small forward, and then we brought in Isaac Chugg, which has to be one of the best names going around, who is an outside mid. So, I can't. It's just such a great draft hand, and what we were able to do with the picks that we had was a masterstroke. So on Instagram, I asked you guys to leave me a bunch of questions for me to answer now, and I'm just going to do a bit of a lightning round. So let's start from the bottom and work our way up. How many draftees do you see debuting? I think we'll see 2 or 3. I think Caleb will debut, Reef and Finlay. The big forwards might take a little bit of time unless, Cox, Mychek and those sort of guys start getting injured or whatever. But I think those first 3 that I said will be some of the first debuts. But remember, we also have Rantow and we also have Bianco to debut. If there was one boy we picked last night to play round 1, who do you think it'll be? Hands down, Reef, 110%. Who gets the credit for this masterstroke from last night? Is it Hine? What was Guy's role, if any? So Hine is, one of our national recruiting managers, and he's been there for God knows how long. Ned Guy was working the phone. So Ned Guy was doing all the trades with other clubs and stuff. So it was a Hine and Guy 1-2. So I know what we said about Ned Guy, but you got to give credit where credit is due. Who did we miss that you wanted? I really wanted Jackson Callow so bad. The vice-like dude from Tasmania. I did a draft profile on him. He didn't get picked up by any club, so hopefully he just keeps smashing it and we see him in the mid-season draft. Even if he's not at Collingwood, I just really want to see him get drafted. Would you have preferred to get Logan McDonald? I think, I was going to say 17 other clubs would have preferred Logan McDonald, but apparently the Kangaroos didn't prefer him. So 16 other clubs would have preferred Logan McDonald. Look, if we had gotten Logan, yes, it would have been amazing. Yes, he's a 15-year absolute buddy-like gun. But we would have only had to give away a lot of picks. So we would have, instead of taking 6 guys yesterday, we probably would have only taken 3. That means you have to go more to the rookie draft or more to guys that are, a little bit past it in the preseason sort of draft and stuff like that. So, yes, I would have preferred Logan, but this is the next best side of the coin. Alright, so that was a bunch of Instagram questions that I could get to. Thank you so much. As always, hit me up on Instagram, Swoop Luke, if you want to talk anything about Collingwood, posting daily, etc., etc., etc. But anyway, that was a little bit of my draft preview. Over the weekend, I'll go more in depth on these players, do more draft profiles and stuff like that. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Did we pass this draft? Did we fail this draft? Would always love to know your thoughts. But until then, like, comment, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets, and until next time, double shackers, I'll swoop you later.
Ooh la la.